Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, I'm going to show you how to structure and run a specialization program. Before I get into this topic, if you guys need coaching, check out the link down below. Coaching is what I do for a living. I'd love to work with you. All right, let's dive into things. How to run a specialization program. I'm going to show you how to structure, give you some basic information on how to structure a specialization program, either for a specific lift, let's say you want to get your bench or your squat or your deadlift up, or for a body part. Let's say you've established a track record of results, but you want to get your chest or your back or your arms up. I'm going to show you how to structure things in this video. Now, understand there are limitations with presenting information like this in a video. Programming is really the nuts and bolts of this. Taking this information and learning how to program it or being able to program it into something that actually works or that is reasonably sensible, that's kind of an art form. So if you guys need any help with this, do not hesitate to join teammassiveiron.com, my private community, or you can DM me at any time on Instagram at Ben the Barman. Now, who should run a specialization program? If you have established a solid history of building muscle and strength, you are a candidate for a specialization program. You put together a track record. You know how to build strength. You know how to build muscle. You might not be the biggest or strongest in the gym, but at least you feel like you're on track. Now, with this, you need to be able to run a proper bulk. You need to have an understanding of how to run a proper lean bulk. If you can't execute a lean bulk or you're unsure, you probably don't want to do a specialization program yet. You really need to back a specialization program with a structured lean bulk. We don't want you getting fat. We don't want any fat bulks. If you have any questions on how to run a lean bulk, you can head over to the main page of this channel and search bulking. I have my massive bulking information for free, or you can go to my website, superlivingtoday.com, and search massive bulking. Now, finally, you are a candidate to run a specialization program if you have no issues with consistency. And this is not just with training. This is with nutrition or nailing your nutrition as well. Now, there are two types of specialization programs. You have a lift focus where we're trying to specialize and bring up our squats, our deadlifts, our bench press, our overhead press, pull-ups, whatever the case is. And you have a body part focus where you're frustrated with your chest development or your arm development or your back development, and you want to specialize for a block of training or a phase of training on one of these areas. Now, a specialization program should probably run at least 3 months. 4 or 5 months is okay as long as you don't feel beat up, but at least 3 months, we call this a phase of training. Now, there are two ways to approach overall specialization volume. Number one, if you want to keep the training days the same during the week, you don't have time to add in an extra day, that's okay. What we're going to do here is we're going to shift 20 to 30%. We're going to take away 20 to 30% of our weekly volume from our major body parts, and this includes chest, back, delts, quads, whatever is applicable, whatever makes sense for this specialization. We're going to shift that set volume into the specialization area. So we're going to keep the same number of training days. Obviously, if you're doing a chest specialization program, we're not going to shift chest to chest, right? We're going to shift 2 or 3 sets or whatever from your back, from your delts, from your quads, and we're going to move that over to the chest or bench specialization. Now, if you want to add a training day, if something just has freed up in your schedule and you're able to add another training day, what we will do here is for this type of specialization program, we'll add in about 16 to 18 weekly sets. This is going to bump you up an extra training day. And we'll get into how to outline and how to structure this extra volume to get the most out of it, because obviously it doesn't make much sense just to add 16, 18 sets to your chest or your bench or whatever. We have to add this volume in a way that makes sense. Again, we don't want to encourage overuse injuries. We want to be smart about our programming. Now I'm going to give you a shift example, and this is going to be focused on increasing a lift. Here we're going to look at maybe increasing the bench press. Let's say your weekly total volume for major body parts and major areas of focus are chest, back, delts, and quads. Let's say you're doing about 10 sets a week for each. So your total volume for these major areas of focus is 40 weekly sets. So we're going to take about 10. We're going to take about 10 of these sets, and you could take 8, you could take 12. We're going to somewhere between 20 to 30%. We're going to take 10 of these sets, and we're going to shift it into a bench specialization program. So you're going to keep the same weekly amount of training days. We're going to just shift or transfer some of this volume over to our bench or our chest so we can build up a bigger bench press during this phase of training. What you're going to end up with is about 30 total weekly sets are left for back, chest, delts, and quads, and the 10 extra sets are going to shift to bench. Now, obviously, you don't want to pull your weekly volume from chest and add it to bench because it's basically just pulling it and adding it to the same area. So obviously, we have to use common sense when we're shifting this stuff, but I'm just presenting these numbers as a dumbed down example. Now, let's say you want to shift things and you want to do a body part focus. Let's say your total volume for your weekly major body parts is 40 sets, chest, back, delts, and quads, 10 each. You decide you want to shift 2 sets or about 20% from back, delts, quads, and focus them on chest specialization. So basically, you started with 10 sets for chest, back, and delts. You're going to drop that down to 8 weekly sets for quads, back, and delts, and you're going to be left with 16 weekly sets to focus on your chest. Now here we're going to look at a volume example or adding an extra training day or about 16 to 18 extra sets per week. I want you to understand that when we are focusing on specialization, specializing on your chest or your bench or your deadlift or your back or whatever, we don't have to put all of this work simply into more movements for that area, for that lift, for your chest, for the deadlift. And let me explain what I mean. During a specialization program, it's okay to add in work for supporting areas. Let's say you want to do a bench specialization. You don't have to take all that extra volume, and you probably shouldn't take all that extra volume and just dump it into bench press movements. We also can put some of this volume into supporting areas. So if you're going to do a bench press specialization, you could put about 2/3 of this extra volume to the body part focus or the lift focus, here the bench press, and then you could take it the remaining 1/3 of the additional volume, place that into the supporting areas. Here it could be like triceps for your bench, or if you're doing a chest specialization, you could take 1/3 of that extra volume and put that into your triceps. So when we are adding volume, just to recap, we're adding about 16 to 18 total sets per week. About 2/3 of that should go into the lift or the body part focus, and about the remaining 1/3 should go into supporting areas. So if you're doing chest or bench specialization, about 2/3 would go into chest or bench, and about 1/3 of that volume might go towards triceps. For example, you could put it to other areas if you felt like it, shoulders, etc. If you're doing a back specialization, you could put 1/3 of that volume into biceps or even rear delts if you wanted, or possibly even traps if you wanted to. And if you're doing, say, a deadlift specialization, obviously we're not going to put all of this volume into deadlifting, but it makes sense to put about 1/3 of this volume into something that's supporting. This could be hamstrings, this could be quads, this could be glutes, this could be traps, whatever area you feel is lacking when it comes to supporting the deadlift. I hope this makes sense. Now, the rule of 1/3 to the supporting areas and 2/3 to the main focus, that's just a generalization. You could adjust that as needed. You could put 50% to your chest or the bench press, and you could put the other 50% towards the supporting areas. So just do whatever works here for you, whatever is reasonable. Now, finally, I'm going to give you guys an example. We're going to do a volume shift here, bench specialization. So let's say we have somebody doing an upper posterior. Upper is chest, shoulders, and arms. The posterior day is legs and back. It's basically my take on the upper-lower split, but it's for lifters that don't want 2 leg days. The upper posterior simply makes a little bit more sense in my opinion. So we got somebody running an upper posterior workout, and this is just a generalization. I just plugged in some exercises. You can plug in whatever you want, but this is for a bench specialization. So on the upper A, we have our lifter doing bench press threes protocol and the barrel press, which is a really good exercise for the chest and a supporting exercise for the bench. And on upper B, we have dumbbell bench and we have machine chest press. So we have some machine work for hypertrophy, etc. So if you look at the bottom table, the highlighted areas in yellow, what we basically did was remove a set. We removed a set from our quads, like on squats. We removed a set on barbell rows for our back. We removed a set on shoulder work, delts. So we removed a set where we removed about 20 to 30% of our work from those other major body parts. And we're going to take that and we're going to push that over into chest and bench and triceps. So what we did here to kind of even things out is we took our biceps work and we pushed it over into our posterior day. The reason why we did that is because we chopped some work out of squats, out of our quads and our back, out of our leg presses and our pull-ups. We chopped some work out of that day. So we had some room to fit in our biceps or to push our biceps over into posterior day. Now, I want you guys to understand this is just an example. There's many ways to do things, but I wanted to give you guys a practical example of something you could take home just to kind of frame and how to do this, how to implement changes like this for a specialization program. Now, on our upper days, you can see the highlighted areas of red. That's our additions. On upper A, we added in Larson or floor press. On the upper B, we added in the 5, 10, 10, 20, which is a bench press builder that is very popular in the massive iron world. And we also added in some triceps work, some close grip bench, and some seated press downs. Now, we added in 12 total sets here. We added in 12 total sets, and about 7 of it is for your bench press, bench variations, Larson or floor press, and the bench press 5, 10, 10, 20. And about 5 of them are for triceps. Obviously, the close grip bench press is kind of a tweener exercise, good for, chest. It's a bench exercise and a chest exercise with a little bit more triceps focus. So we took that work that we pulled from our quads and from our delts and from our back, and we put that into not only chest work, but bench work, also triceps work. So this is basically what a reasonable specialization program would look like for the chest. Again, you just don't want to simply take all that extra volume and just do bench pressing and bench pressing and bench pressing. You're very, very likely to encourage overuse injuries. And in my opinion, this simply isn't a good way, a well-rounded way to attack a specialization program. Now, a note on training arms. If you wanted to do an arm specialization program and add in an extra day, you could add in like a 5th day, which is a junk day with more arm work. That's a really easy way to implement extra arm volume. So final words on specialization. The information I presented here can't begin to flesh out the nuances involved with programming a specialization period. Know that you should commit at least 3 months to this type of program. You should do so with a bulk that involves at least a 2-pound weight gain per month. And also understand, finally, that a specialization program is unlikely to be a complete game changer for that body part or lift. It will help you, but don't set yourself up for failure with extreme expectations. Don't think you're going to add an inch to your arms in 3 months with an arm specialization program. Don't think you're going to add 70 pounds to your bench press with a 3 to 4 month bench press specialization program. These types of programs are meant to amplify, to improve that area, but they're not going to be magic. The magic is always going to be patience, consistency, not beating up your body so you can stay in the gym and nailing your nutrition. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day.